All right. Last week we didn't get to do the parasha because we had the Siyum Seder and Siyum Masechet, which was a wonderful thing. However, I think we could still learn something from it, even though it passed. We can always learn something from it. So the pasuk says, "Emor el hakohanim bnei Aaron." Say it to the priests, the sons of Aaron. And v'amarta aleim lanefesh lo yitameh be'amav. He should not impurify himself with a dead body. In other words, it should not be tameh met. In other words, you have to understand first of all what's the whole concept of tumah and tahara, purity and impurity. Impurity usually refers to lack of completion. So a person is tameh. There's call it spiritual holes and gaps in him, whatever it is. So it says, in other words, the kohen needs to be b'shlemut. He needs to be complete. That's why it says that the kohen cannot marry any other woman. He has to marry very specific woman. For example, isha zona v'chalala lo yikachu v'isha grusha meisha lo yikachu. They cannot take a woman who is a zona, not a prostitute. A zona is a woman who had relations that she should not have. In other words, she cannot marry. Whether it's to have relations with a Gentile or to have any of the answers and so on and so forth. Somebody she cannot. The Kiddushin would not hold, she becomes Zona, right? V'chalala is a woman, we'll maybe open a little parenthesis later on about this Chalala business. They should not take a Chalala is a woman that her father was a Kohen and went with a woman who we should not marry. Therefore, it's the child of this kind of interaction. V'isha grusha meisha lo yikachu. And a woman who is divorced from a husband would not take. Because what happens is when a woman is being divorced, she's basically being rejected. That rejection leaves a little hole in the heart, which is not really the case for an almanah, even though there is there. However, he is not allowed to come to Avodat HaKodesh in a state of a blemish, of a pagam in him. And that's what it means, lanefesh lo yitameh. And therefore he needs to take a woman who has no blemish in her. In a Kohen Gadol, there is an additional prohibition that he needs to take, he's not allowed to take a widow, and he must take a betula. He must take a virgin, ki im betula be'amavikach. In the Zohar, it explains that the Kohen needs to take a woman who is shalem, who is complete. And this is the secret of kol shel bracha. Kol shel bracha cannot be pagum. In other words, mi'ikar adin, this is a cup. Okay, it's a cup. It holds a revid. Actually, it holds more than a revid. Can I make kiddush on that cup? Well, technically, yes, not a problem. If there was a hole in the cup, here or here, that the cup would not hold a revid, in other words, I put the fluid in and it comes out, therefore it doesn't have a din of a cup. It would not even be taun tefillah if I bought it from a Gentile. But in terms of a cup, is a cup. However, kos shel bracha, it could be made out of silver or 24 karat gold. If it's pagum, the kos itself, I cannot make kiddush on that. So, technically speaking, according to the Zohar, if I have a golden cup, then there is a little nick in it, and this cup, this will be preferred on the other one, even though it's not as glorified, because that's shalem, it's complete. And isha, a woman, is parallel with kol shel bracha. Remember we spoke before about learning Torah, and the woman is the vessel in which you bring the bracha and she holds it. That's exactly it. And later on, the whole entire parasha speaks about the whole inyan altogether, and the Torah says, "Ish mizaracha ledorotam asher yeh bo mum lo yikrav lakriv lechem elokav." A person that has a blemish, a kohen, that has a certain blemish on him, for example, he's missing a finger, or he's missing an eye, or any of these things, he is not allowed to bring the korban. I mean, in our eyes, it seems like discrimination. The person with a disability nobody said he's not a person. But we need to understand that he cannot do that. For example, let's say you are 5 feet tall. You're very handsome, very smart, very fit, but you're 5 feet tall. And you want to be a fighter pilot. Well, I'll tell you that. You can't. Why? You're too short. maybe you're like 6'8", also handsome and muscular and smart. You also cannot be a pilot. But that means that we're going to do a hashtag me pilot too. That does not mean that. It means that, listen, there are certain restrictions. In the avodah for the Kohen has to be shalem. If there is a mum in him, he cannot do the avodah. Now, and the Torah said shumum, nothing at all. Later on, the Torah talks about the korbanot themselves, and regarding the korbanot, the Torah says the same thing. Kol asher bo mum lo takrivu. Not only that you cannot bring the korban, or you can do the avodah if you're blemished, also you cannot bring a korban, something that is blemished. I mean, we can talk about this concept for years in terms of the avodah that we need to do for ourselves to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the way we worship HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now you got to think about it very carefully. You got to think about it very carefully. The way you do things and the reason you do things, you need to examine yourself very, very carefully. Why are you doing and how are you doing things? If it's done b'shlemut or it's not done b'shlemut. When you are davening, why are you davening? When you're eating, and so on and so forth. Every single thing that you do. It is unbelievable. It's tremendous musar here. Tremendous musar. The Sefer Bracha V'Shalom, brings it up a little bit Lefia Kabbalah, this concept. And the Sefer Bracha V'Shalom has 4 volumes that talks about the aspects of Avodat Hashem according to Kabbalah, and they were written by the Bechor, the first son of Baal HaSulam. His name is Rabbi Baruch Shalom Halevi Ashlag, and the name of the book is called Birkat Shalom. And he writes that Ikar Avodat HaAdam Lishtadel Liyot B'Shlemut. Your effort, the Ikar, the essence, is to be complete. Remember I told you before, if you start something, finish. It's a very important thing in Avodat Hashem. When you're living half things done, eventually they will get you into a habit as well, into your Avodat Hashem, into everything. Because everything that you do reflects on everything that you are. So if you start something, finish it. You have to. This is not just a code of the Bushido of the samurai. This is above and beyond that. That's about a way of life, of how to live as a Jew. You got to do whatever you can to the best of your abilities, whatever the abilities will be. His ability might be greater than mine. However, in the eyes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, let's say, argument's sake, let's say Yonatan is 100 times more qualified in terms of his abilities than I am. 100 times. However, he only gave 50% and I gave 100%. My effort and my avodah and my end result considered to be higher than him because I did it b'shlemut. He did it half. Let's say you have a big diamond. Let's say, I don't know, a 20-carat diamond. And you just did half the facets. Oh, it's very nice, but it's not as nice as a full diamond that let's say a 1 carat that you polish completely and it's beautifully reflecting. You have to get used to finish things. To do what you can b'shlemut. Don't jump around. In other words, really, do not jump around. Hopping around is no good. Whether it's hopping around Aseh Lecharav, or learning at this yeshiva 1 week, and learning the other yeshiva another week, another yeshiva another week. At the end, the fourth week, you're not going to be learning anywhere. Say, I committed myself to this, I'm going to go. And the same thing is going to reflect to your wife and so on, and everything else that you do. You decided, think before you do something. Think before you do something. But once you're committed to it, go with it all the way. It's a big yesod. It's a big fundamental aspect in Avodat Hashem. Everything that you do to do b'shlemut. Now, in Pesach Sheni, we learned, Pesach Sheni will just happen, right? In Pesach Sheni, we learned that came people and says, he said, وَلَخُ تْمَئِים לَنَفesh Adam. Right? However, that's called, in Kabbalah, that's called B'chinat Kav Small. Another, the left line. And the left line is the Adam olech ve'oseh bikorat al atzmo. You have to give self-criticism. on yourself, right? Self-criticism. And he sees that his nefesh adam is tameh. I'm not right. And that nefesh behemit is really controlling him. In other words, you have to think, guys, it's so wonderful, and the reason why people don't do this is because of that. It's so wonderful to really sit down and evaluate your actions. And really be really truthful with yourself. Again, it might be the most difficult thing to do, to be truthful with yourself. You would lie to yourself more than you would lie to anybody else out there. We got to be truthful. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Be'emet. So that's b'pchinat kav small, the left side. But the ikar avodat ha'adam is really what we call kav yamin, the right side. And kav yamin, that's called shlemut, perfection, wholeness. So if we are talking about Torah, right, when we say in singular, right, we always say ha-kohen and so on and so forth, the meaning of ha-kohen, the kohen, what you should say kohen, lama ha-kohen, why the additional hey yediyah, the additional hey there, or the kohen, you should say a kohen. It's really to show us also something above the kohen. It's therefore any other person who is serving Hashem or wants to serve Hashem. As much as the Kohen serves Hashem in Bet HaMikdash, when the Torah says the Kohen, means also something to reflect to us. Just as much as the Kohen serves, you choose to serve Hashem, you need to do so as well. So in a person that wants to be in proximity to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu needs to feel the reality of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, needs to feel HaKadosh Baruch Hu is here. And in order to do so, he must be b'shlemut, he must be shalem. That's b'chinat kav yamin. That's the right side. It's not something that we've been encouraged to in our society. You don't like it? Switch a major. This switch. Chachamim tell us, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila. Spend 10 hours thinking and then execute 10 different things, because it's going to get you nowhere. That's going to get you nowhere. It will be like, let's say a person who's building a building of, let's say 100 stories or 50 stories up, right? Versus a person that's building buildings, but he only reaches the first floor, then he stops. Reaches another floor, So he has 50 one-store buildings that are unfinished. One big building with 50 stories up. So a person like this needs to be b'shlemut, and for that it says, "Lanefesh lo yitameh be'amav." In other words, the person, when he does that, doesn't need to do self-reflection on himself. Right? He needs to see, he needs to understand that the shlita is on the control is really on the nefesh be'emit. The answer is no. La nefesh lo yitameh. La nefesh be'emit. You're not going to go in that path. La nefesh lo yitameh. But rather, a person needs to go b'derech ha'emunah. Don't go after your desires and then be criticizing yourself all the time. Go b'derech b'tzad yashar. Don't go in this path. You need to understand, you have to go in path of the emunah, because if the person goes b'derech shel emunah and he believes HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates the world and organizes the world and so on and so forth, or as we say, melo kol haaretz kvodo, and I chose to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the more the emunah, your emunah is greater in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's why the more you understand that, the higher level of the practice of Avodat Hashem that you have, and more constant it will going to be for a long period of time. Then you're going to have shlemut v'simcha. You're going to have feeling of content and completion and wholeness, and it's going to make you feel happy. Therefore, you see that the simcha or lack of simcha that a person has in his life really comes from lack of emunah or lack of shlemut in Avodat Hashem. Why aren't you happy? Because you're not shalem. Why aren't you shalem? Because you don't work by emunah. Ezu ashir hasamech bechelko. Who is the man who is rich, who is happy with what he has? Why is happy with what he has? Because I know that what I have, I got from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I got from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So I'm happy with this. In other words, the samech bechelko is a person that believes and understands that everything he has comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So I'm happy with what I have. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave it to me. Let's say, for example, I'm going to give you a small button. Or I'm going to show you a small button, a small medallion, like a nickel, made out of 24 karat gold that was given to me by the Emperor of Japan. Wow! Right? Is the Yofi Emperor of Japan. Anywhere I go to Japan, I show them the badge. Please, B'chavod, right? That's a person. Now, for me, this cup was given to me. It's given me from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm happy with this cup. Yeah, maybe it's not fancy. Maybe you have a Baccarat crystal cup. Good for you. Gesundheit. It doesn't make a difference what the object is. It makes a difference who gave it to me. And if I understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave it to me, for me, it's the most precious thing in the world. Now you might understand why Yaakov Avinu had to go back to Ma'avar Yabok over there and collect his little tins, because the little tins that he got, Yaakov Avinu, as I told you many times, was not in the recycle business, but he understood that this is something HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave it to. I cannot leave it behind. I'm going to use it until it dies, and when it dies or breaks, that means the neshama get out of it. The nitzotz is out. The tikkun is complete. So I understand that. Then I'm besimcha. So when you are not happy and you are not content, it's something that really has to do with emunah. Therefore, the tzivui lanefesh lo yitameh be'amav, it means that the ikar avodah is to be b'shlemut. Not to look at what is not good. Not to look at what you don't have. Because that is the side of the tum'ah. That's the side of the yetzirah of the tum'ah. But rather than to look at what you have, to look at what is good, to look at what is okay. That's why it says, Vehu isha biftolea ikach. Ha'isha, the woman, is a representation of Knesset Israel. So, how can a person could be rewarded for Isha or to be connected to Knesset Israel, right? That he's going to be we said it before, he's going to be a chayal. He's going to be ish chayil, and she's going to be an eshet chayil. You want a good woman? Got to work on yourself before you get married, not after you get married. You want an eshet chayil. Eshet refers to belonging to. Eshet chayil. So in order to get the eshet chayil, you need to be the chayil yourself first. Don't wait for the woman to fix you. Got to fix yourself. You got to think about it. And then he might be able to get the orot from her, the whatever light that he gets from there. Now, if he's going to get or he's not going to get, that's up to him. If he really wants, if he sees the Shekhinah, b'chol matzav, in any condition, he sees the hand of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He sees the hand of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In anything that happens, good or what other people would say not good. You don't know it's not good. Maybe it is good. It is good. You just don't see it. It doesn't mean it's not good. If you're going to see the involvement of the Shekhinah in everything you do in any condition, then only then you could receive the light from the Shekhinah. Because you made yourself the appropriate vessel to draw the light down. If you don't see it, you can't connect to it. Let's say, for example, if I stand here in front of you, you see me, right? If I'm going to tell you, listen, I'm going around the corner, you don't see me, but you know I'm there. You're not going to say, hey, excuse me, you're there? You know I'm there. And it's not that you see my shadow. You know, your sechel was able to elevate himself beyond the reality of me there. So you know I'm there. Why does a kid, when his mommy goes around the corner to a different, all of a sudden he starts panicking? Because his sechel, his intellect, is not yet developed to understand. She's here, she's going to run back. Of course, for us it's the same thing. To that matter, we are like little kids and need to mature that. You know, to say, well, HaKadosh Baruch Hu left us. He never left us. We don't see him. Don't see him doesn't mean he's not there. He's there. We need to develop this. If you see the Shekhinah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu interacting, there's no even reason to ask, why? Why me and not him? Why he and not me? Because that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. That's okay. I see it like this. Then, if you do so, you get a tremendous light. A tremendous light means not that you see lights and you start hallucinating. Everything is clear to you. There's a level of clarity. However, if anything that you see, and you see the Shekhinah, but you also see a pgam, so that is called that is a madriga. That's a level that what we call isha zona. That's a lower level. It's not complete. It's isha zona or halala. Depends on the often. Halala means there is a hole in it, a spiritual hole in it. So the emunah is whole. Zona means, I think with all due respect to science and scientists, right? Really, science and scientists should have no say whatsoever when it comes to Torah. Science is science, Torah is Torah. Because science is b'chinat this kid who didn't develop yet his other aspects. He doesn't see what it is. They measure things within this world. The Torah is able to take us to a different world. It's a totally different understanding of what it is. With all due respect to scientists. I love science. I think it's wonderful. But there's no way substitution for Torah. If I'm trying to explain the Torah according to science, that's Bishum Isha Zona. In other words, Isha Zona, you're mixing up attributes here. Halala, there's a hole in them. I believe that, but there's a hole, and so on and so forth. So, when you have a way like this, you can't take a woman like this if you want to serve Hashem. You have to abandon it. You have to put it down. That's why you cannot receive the shefa, the abundance of revelation of Hashem, and that's why hashgacha pratit for him becomes a problem. There's no bchira chofshit. There is bchira chofshit. You just don't see it because there's a pgam in your understanding. So therefore, we need to get to this level of kol asher bo mum lo ikav. There is a blemish for you. You can't just come in and take and call upon Hashem's name when you are not ready for it. When there's a chisaron in you, there's a lacking in you. Whether it's mum, physical mum, or there is tum'ah, which is a spiritual mum, a spiritual blemish. A person needs to really see whether it's with him or to his friends, HaKadosh Baruch Hu interacting, and you need to ask yourself, why did David come here to this yeshiva? Why is he learning with Sam? There is something that is beyond me, and I don't need to understand everything, but there is a reason, and therefore I'm going to try to make the best out of it to serve Hashem better, and so on and so forth, with people that you come across with your life, and so on and so forth. You need to see the involvement of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in everything you do, and therefore when you reject it, you have a problem. You came here for a reason. Why to this yeshiva and not to a different yeshiva? Because that's where you need to be, but when you run out of it, and you run out of here, when you shouldn't have, because you think somewhere else is better, there's going to be a pgam in your avodat Hashem. It could be that this place, the other place is better. Well, not for you, not right now, because right now you're here, you have to make the best out of it. It's a big concept. Imagine you're going to go like this, you're going to go with your wife, and then you're going to see somebody better, you're going to leave her. No, you committed yourself to this, you're going to stay here. And that's a part of the emunah. Kadosh Baruch Hu mashgiach on all of us, and He sees all of us, and He knows what's good and what's bad, and so on and so forth. And whatever seems to us as human, as tafel, as not important, in the eyes of Kadosh Baruch Hu could be the complete opposite. Because we think that, the person, or let's say the rabbi who gives the most chidushim in his class, and so on and so forth, is the best rabbi. Meanwhile, the other rabbi who gives you clarity and a way to think and guides you, probably is the best one. But you don't measure this in the eye. Oh, so I'm going to have a big rabbi with a big beard and a big long coat and big peot, and that's for the kav small. We need the kav yamin. We need to see the bracha in everything that Kadosh Baruch Hu give us. You have to concentrate on what you have, not in what you don't have. So if you have a house with one bedroom, you have an apartment with one bedroom, the fact that he has 7 bedrooms house, that's okay, gesundheit for him. I have a bracha in that. What's the bracha, for example? If let's say you have a studio, I told you this before. It's a tremendous bracha for a young couple to have a studio. Why? Anywhere you look, you see your wife. If you have a big house and you have a 7-bedroom house, you're never going to see each other. That's a klala, it's not a bracha. So what you think is a bracha is actually a klala. Needless to say, if Mashiach will come, you're really going to pick your stuff and leave your $2.1 million house and go to Israel. You say, Mashiach, go, I'll be right there. You're not going to leave this. So it's a klala. It touches you, ties you here. And so on and so forth in everything you do. Why does he wear Gucci and this one wears, I don't know what is another fancy one? Boss, Versace, this one wears Armani, this one wears whatever, and I wear Levi's. I wear Levi's because that's what Kadosh Baruch Hu, that's how I look the best. I'm cool. You're not cool. You wear Armani, you know. Can I go 4x4 with my Levi's? I mean, with your Armani's or with your Boss. I can go to the wedding. I can put like nice Levi's jeans, nice sport blazer. You know, I look good. Why? Not because it's good. It's because that's what I have. There's a bracha. Kadosh Baruch Hu gave it to me. And so is to everything in your house. I explained to you, Bal Tachmod, don't desire, corresponds with Ani Hashem Elokecha. When you don't understand that everything comes from Hashem, you're chomed. If I understand that what I have is mine, what he is, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him as much as he gave me, there's no place for Bal Tachmod. That's the bracha. It's a tremendous blessing in your life. When you do so, HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings you closer. Because you see the bracha and everything. HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings you closer. Because there is a klal, there's a rule, Baruch mitdabek ba-baruch, ve'en arur mitdabek ba-baruch. Blessed is going to connect himself with blessed, however, cursed is not going to connect himself with blessed. Can't. So you see the bracha in everything. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to bring him closer to him. You see and complain about everything. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Shalom, ani lo רוצה אותך פה, לך. Therefore, a person needs to be Baruch. That's why I always try to say good things. Try to encourage. Try to say good words out of your mouth. So cursing, blessings. And that's the inyan of, according to Kabbalah, of Bet Kavin, Kav Yamin v'Kav Small. A person needs to be able to go this two ways, to recognize there are two ways, מבחינת לנפש לא יטמא. And קצת היום, you know, sometimes we have what we have, אנחנו טמאים לנפש אדם. We have this concept in us that we went there and we checked ourselves. You know, we went and we checked ourselves. So therefore, comes the Pasuk Katuv Shlishi, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, listen, I'm going to give you constant emunah. And that's called Kav Yamin, which is called Kav Abba, gives you the white, right? Because it says, the white comes from the father, the red comes from the mother. Kav Yamin, which is white, comes from the father. That's the shlemut, that's the wholeness. The Kav small, Iman, gives him the red, and that's the chisaron. And then comes HaKadosh Baruch Hu and gives him the neshama. And the neshama, the Kav Emtzai, is emunah b'kviyut, constant emunah. However, do not forget that even though, as we said, this were given to Kohanim, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to us, V'atem mamlechet Kohanim v'goi kadosh, you are nations of priests, and therefore anything that was said to the priests, to the Kohanim, could apply to us because we are Kohanim, because we should serve Hashem instead of that. Therefore, a person needs to remember that he should put a lot of effort to do Avodat Hashem b'shlemut, and the shlemut comes in nisayon and atmada with the effort and the diligence that he has and the endurance to persevere that he has to teach himself to see the bracha, the blessing in everything, to concentrate in what you have. Don't concentrate in what you don't have. That's going to put you to a totally different realm in your life. Ultimately, you're going to be happy. Ashrei Sameach Bechelko. Have a good day.